ania na pud ta karon sa ato ang regular last Wednesday of the month programming, ang Partners in Law. Ako si Attorney Irene and Caballes sa Cebu Lady Lawyers Association and also with the Legal Alternatives for Women Center Inc. Today is March 28, 2018, Holy Wednesday. It is also Women's Month this month of March. And this evening, we will be tackling on the most important woman in our lives, particularly Mother Earth and the issues abounding Mother Earth. Now, I am very, very pleased to have with me as a guest today the man who brought the Japanese exploration company limited to its knees, Japanese government run exploration company, and he did this on behalf of the dolphins and the resident marine mammals of Tanyon Strait. He is a professor of environmental law of the USJR, as well as a lecturer with other universities. He also teaches public and private international law. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to present and have here with me as a guest Attorney Benjamin Cabrido Jr. Attorney Ben, good evening.
Good evening, Attorney Irene. Good evening sa tanan nga naminaw. It's a pleasure to be back again
Yes.
in this program.
Uh-huh.
And I hope we will have a very good discussion tonight.
Yes, kaya ako, this is actually a topic that I've long been interested in, Attorney Ben, kaning envilo, pero murag nangangapa ko kay daghan kaayo kanang, for example, Mining Act, nya human naapod lahi pud ang katong sa Department of Energy nga jurisdictions no or coverage no, nya it all impacts on the environment. So actually, our topic for this evening will include the ramifications of the newly declared commercially viable Alegria oil and natural gas fields, which is right here in Cebu province. And then we'll also tackle on other environment issues na current, like the Boracay Closure. And then when it comes to your expertise in public and private international law, all of a sudden, because of Facebook, ang tanang tao, murag naanay idea gamay about public international law or private international law, and then everybody has their opinion, di ba? I saw you post that everybody has their opinion. Unya, naapag yung mga nang come up nga local legislation which would also impact private international law, particularly House Bill 7185 ganing pass na through third reading sa Congress, and this is about foreign divorces being recognized here. And then we also have sa public international law pod ang pinaka mainit nga topic karon is the Philippines withdrawal from the ICC. That was a very murabag wow major move. Ko murag nindot sad siguro ni da nga, and all this is happening in Mother Earth in our planet, so nindot sad siguro ni i-take up. Sige, so to start with, let's start local diri sa ato ang province of Cebu. Alegria oil and natural gas fields. Sir Ben, your thoughts?
First, ang Cebu Island is divided into at least 3 na lang, no? The latest map of the Department of Energy already takes out service contract number 45 katong among gipa-declare nga unconstitutional.
The
Tanyon Strait.
The Tanyon Strait
Yeah.
nga katong
Because it is a protected
area,
seascape.
seascape.
So, proceeding from that declaration from the Supreme Court, which was handed on 2015 and made final the year after because they asked for motion for reconsideration. The DOE now did not include any more service contract 45. what is left now is service contract number 49, that Alegria going south.
Is part
Then
of.
we have service contract 51, that Bohol Strait, going down to Argao.
Okay.
And there is a small service contract area somewhere in
The north.
Asturias.
Oh.
So I'm talking about Cebu Island. So these are the three service contracts that that has been already inked by different contractors with the
The
government
nationalities of
purposely to venture into oil exploration.
Expiration. The nationalities of these service contractors. Sir.
Vary. I do not know if they have already changed the contractor in service contract 51 in Argao,
Mm.
the Bohol Strait, which was owned by an Australian company.
So Australian exploration firm.
There is Alegria, it's the Chinese,
Chinese.
company. While in Tanjung Strait, service contract 45, it was a Japanese company, JPEX.
Sa imuhang knowledge and from past scrutiny of service contracts, Sir Ben, these contractors are privateers or are they in some way supported by their government? Or-
Usually because these are large venture projects, most of these companies entering into joint venture with our government are hybrid or pure government owned. Like this CMIP, if I'm not mistaken, this is a pure Chinese government agency.
So this Alegria contractor is
Government
pure
owned.
government owned and controlled.
Just just like
For-
service contract 45.
Mhm. So actually, we're entering into service contracts with other nations. In effect,
Actually, with other government-owned companies.
companies. Mm. Now, what do you think? They say that the Alegria oil and natural gas fields could produce enough power for a 60 megawatt plant for the next 20 years. Now, vis-a-vis the environment,
Now,
how deep would the impact be if you drill oil wells there or natural gas wells?
to give visualization to our viewers, let me cite as a reference the Malampaya project of Palawan, Masinloc. Because the Malampaya project has similar composition of the Alegria project. The
But
only
way
difference
bigger.
is on the scale.
Mm.
The Malampaya project has a reserve of about 2 extractable, available reserve of 2.7 trillion
That's a lot
cubic feet,
of
while Alegria has only 6 billion cubic feet of commercially extractable deposit of natural gas. As to oil, the oil deposit in Alegria is very, very negligible. It's only 30 million barrels.
Okay.
So, kung tanawin mo, ang production sa US shale, kanabitong the new kind of oil source now, kanang shale, S-H-A-L-E.
Yes,
It is
yes.
mined. It is not being extracted underneath or
Yes.
underground.
Okay, it's a kind of rock, mga
Yeah, rock
It's a
na
kind
siya.
of rock.
It's a,
But it's a source of oil.
yeah, and the US is producing something like 10 million barrels per day. That somehow stabilizes the worldwide, the global prices on oil because of that shale production, which is independent of the OPEC production. The OPEC accounts only less than 30% of the total global output. Now, with this in mind, I have a question on whether Alegria deposit is really commercially viable.
But it has been hyped as commercially viable, not 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 too big, but enough.
That's the
So-
problem. If it is not too big, there might be some compromises in the production.
Such
Now, the negative impacts in oil exploration and drilling has already been felt in the area. One of those who complained to me is no less than the provincial prosecutor.
Okay. Mm-mm.
Kaya doon naman sa Utah dito, she has a lot there,
Mm.
upstream, dito sa
Sa
Aklan,
bukid.
sa Alegria. And they have noticed, during the exploration stage, when they were still drilling, they have noticed that their source of water
Na-divert.
were affected already, polluted, daghang mga kuan. Now, this has not been read in the news, this was not been announced, but Attorney Nad and Attorney Jin, the provincial prosecutor, documented all of these things. Now, kini siya nga mga impacts were committed during the exploration stage.
How much more extraction?
That's why. And although the area is not protected area, because what is protected area is the Tanyo
The
Strait.
strait.
It is a
The
protected
Tanyo.
seascape. But the
The runoff.
the runoff of
The runoff.
this kuan mga iyahan tong mga kuan sa oil production will go ultimately
sea.
to Tanyo Strait. So this is where we will come in, especially during the environmental impact assessment study. We have
Because
to
the risk might outweigh the
benefits. Now, Alegria and Badian are home to ecotourism.
Yes.
If you have noticed, they have this beautiful
Canyoneering.
Badian
The
waterfalls.
waterfalls, Kawasan, and then the
And,
Alegria Canyoneering.
Canyoneering. Now, all of this might be affected because if you look at the map of service contract number 49, it stretches not only Alegria, although the base is Alegria, it stretches from Badian up to Sambuan.
So, Aplan, murag ang
Mao na iyang
backbone sa Cebu. That area.
Yeah.
Sa
Dako na siya, pila siya ka hectares.
So, kuya, ug maka-cause na hinuon og pollution, and then what if they find out later on nga di gyud ay viable?
And
Biyaan lang.
biyaan lang. And this is usually what happens to mining areas. Mabitaw ni President Duterte, iyahang mga concerns sa mga open pit mining o sa other mining methods nga because they want profit, they will sacrifice these environmental safeguards
Yes.
that they are supposed to do.
Do you think it might affect if they go into full extraction? May possibility po nga i-close na lang ang canyoneering activities.
There will be a great possibility because in drilling oil and extracting the deposit, necessarily it will affect the network of underneath water streams. No? So, di man takabalo, babuak na nilang doon ay
Ulik.
rock diha
Ah.
na nag-cover og usa ka water nga spring. Pagbabuak na siya, it will
Leak.
go, dili man na siya nga yung direra ko ana.
So murag nag-oil spill. Murag na ay underground oil
Mao man na
spill
siya yung mga
into your
concerns. That's why in
springs.
other areas nga very na profitable, viable ang ecotourism, hindi ko sila mo allow og oil exploration like Costa Rica, Ecuador. Although they have very, very huge deposits, underneath sa ilahang mga forest, Ecuador, for instance, dagko po kayo nag-deposits. Venezuela, they have took the lesson from Venezuela. Now, although ang Venezuela, doon na siya, it has the biggest oil deposit in the world, bigger than Saudi Arabia. And yet, look what happens
Look what
sa
happened
economy.
to it.
So, dili yung ka makaingon nga, the oil will be our savior or it will help the economy. On the contrary, it will destroy the economy.
Yes, especially when makuan na sa manipulation of the prices po.
Yes,
Yeah.
it will not bring down with this very, very minuscule, especially the oil component of
Alegria.
the deposit. It's only 30 million barrels of crude. It will not affect the oil prices. It will not even make a dent on the oil price structure. Now, the most important issue that I would like to raise is the government policy, because just last year, March, 1 year ago, we have ratified the Paris Agreement.
Okay. Sige, Attorney Ben. Let's pause for a few reminders there and take up the Paris Agreement and what its implications are in the local setting after a few messages from our friends. We'll be back. And we are back. You mentioned, Attorney Ben, that just last year in March, we ratified the Paris Agreement. This was probably one of the most important international treaties for the environment, if not the most important today.
This is actually the latest of the Conference of the Parties created under the United Nations Framework on Climate Change, which was ratified by almost 200 countries in 1991 at Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Now, after the expiration of the Kyoto Protocol, which was the implementing rules and regulations of that UNFCCC in 1994, a series of conference of the parties were made, and all of these were failures, except the latest in 2016. So, 2015. So, the success of the Paris Agreement, unlike in other conference of the parties, was mainly because these were not obligatory. Unlike in Kyoto Protocol, there were really percentages, no, assigned to different countries. Now, in the Paris Agreement, you have voluntary commitments. The Philippines, in its nationally declared commitment, submitted a very, very high target of 70% reduction of its greenhouse gas emissions by 2030, meaning 12 years from now. Kung imo lang tan-awon, ang iyahang baseline is the 2012 to 2015 na greenhouse gas emissions.
But we emit so much ba compared to those highly industrial countries?
We do not. We do not even account to 1%. But we committed, based on our baseline, based on our present business as usual, we committed that we will reduce it by 70%. Although we have barely 0.05 contribution to the total greenhouse gas emissions worldwide, we still committed 70% reduction. Where will we get this commitment? Number one, from fuel, from energy, then land use. Now,
what kind of energy produces the most greenhouse gases?
It's
Coal.
the coal. Now,
We are heavily coal-powered pa, di ba?
yes, and mind you, the DOE has just approved 50 gigabyte of coal project until 2040. That's why I am wondering how we could achieve this goal when we are going into oil exploration, we're going into coal-fired power plants as source of our energy. So asa man ka makuhaan na commitment, di ba?
We committed and then counterintuitive at mga
Yeah, and
contracts.
it's already very, very near. Ang purpose man ko sa Paris Agreement nga ma-arrest na to nga dili ta maabot og 2 degrees Celsius nga mean global temperature increase. So as much
We
as
are
possible,
now at 1.5.
1.5.
Gamay na lag uwang.
Yeah,
So,
and 2023 or 5 years from now, kita man ko'y una maka-feel sa impact. 2020, ang Manikwari sa Indonesia, which is located in the equator, 2020 ma-feel na niya 2 years from now. Full impact of climate change. So kita, 2023. Naman tagamay. So kung ang kini karong ato ang na-feel nga extreme weather conditions, this is just a preview to what will happen 5 years from now or within this decade.
And if we, because the Paris Agreement dapat magudunta, no, we do our best to
Everybody
comply. Not just us,
contribute.
and also the big, because it's just one planet. Unya, these 2 degrees, that's irreversible already, di ba? The climate change there is, you cannot pull it back.
That's
Once
what we
you
call
reach-
twilight. That is the twilight zone in climate change. It's already climate departure. It is a departure from the climate that we know of. So once we enter into that zone, it will now take us thousands of years to recover,
to get back the
to
equilibrium.
get back at the present pre-industrial level of climate. So this is what worries scientists, especially what is happening now in the Arctic and the Antarctic.
Yes.
These are the 2 indicators that we are really in a crisis. Because what worries me a lot is the permafrost portion sa
Melting.
Siberia and all of these areas in the North Pole and South Pole. If this mantle of ice that trap the methane gas will break
Will melt.
and let loose the methane,
Somewhat.
it will be the end of our species. Because about 200 million years ago, this happened already.
Can't we get the methane? Earlier we were discussing about methane, if extracted and kept properly contained, has 100%.
That is 21
efficiency.
times its global warming potential as compared to carbon dioxide is 21% higher.
Higher.
Mas init ang methane. Kanang imong
But-
mabahuan sa Inayawan landfill, ilig-agi nimo o sa umapat, mao na siya ang baho sa methane.
But if this were to be used and contained,
Top. But
kuya gyapon.
yeah, if
The-
this will be tapped as fuel, it will have less emission because it will burn
Burn
almost
off.
100%, 99%. Unlike in carbon dioxide or oil, daghan siya og mabiling nga residues.
Kumbaga koan siya, ay ang entropy,
Yeah.
the heat.
So ang methane nga what I was talking about, katong methane nga raw that will escape to the atmosphere. Mao to siya ang 21 times.
And that's the one that might be unleashed if the permafrost will
Yeah.
melt.
And this is almost similar with that natural
methane
gas.
from underneath? Kay para ato na lang i-utilize as...
That's what Russia is selling. It's natural gas, but not the Siberia thing. It's too huge. Number 1 natural gas producer in the world is Russia. It's supplying entire Europe.
And that's better than...
It's better than
coal.
coal
Better
and
than
other. Yeah.
So in a way, if we extract natural gas, mas arang-arang na lang kaysa
That's why,
coal.
ang safeguards lang niya, I am against extracting the oil component of that Alegria field. As to the natural
But
gas,
they're beside each other, di ba?
yeah, but
So we have
different method of extraction.
Okay. So if you extract only the natural gas, you may not have a seepage of the
Yeah, okay.
oil into the waters.
Ang problema lang sa natural gas, there is sporadic ka ng flares. Kinahanglan from time to time mo ng pasigahon, mura mo nag-lighter nga dako.
Ah,
So makita niya na nimo sa Alegria, doon na mo mukalitlag kuan diha, mukalitlag spark nga
nga pasigahon man ina siya.
kuan siya para sa pagkuan siguro sa iyang pressure. Sa iyang kay pipeline may ganito na
Pipeline,
niya. As to where they will supply that I want to know. Kaya dili mo na pwede isulod nila o kanang bitong canisters or baligya nila pareha na baligya ng butane ba na?
Oo.
Hindi mo na pwede.
So it
So,
has to be transported
industrial
through
gina siya,
pipes, diretso straight
So
to
asa padulong, that should be our question. Then mingon sila, they will still build a natural gas plant, then they have to build ahead.
Yes. Ya asa na pud nila
That's the question. Kaya kung ilahang ikuan, maybe magamit sila og mga lorries or trucks, mga tankers dadon sa ilahang mga kanang
Pero di peligro if it's over.
dako siya og kuan, risky siya, pero pare-pareha man pud na.
Og LPG.
Mas gamay lang kag cost atong oil atong pipeline, natural gas pipeline. Pero what happened dito sa Makati, nga ning rupture tong pipeline sa gas padulong sa Pandakan siguro ko.
Boto.
Ilahaman to sa kuano. That is also the
That's also a risk.
negative nga mga impacts, no?
Sustainability. After sustainability of this, they said it's only until 2037,
30.
no? Then what
I doubt
happens
if it
after?
can reach.
What happens after to the community?
That's why the closure. This is one area where the Philippine government fails horribly. Rehabilitation of those mines or areas that are being extracted of.
Naadi ay successful no rehabilitation, Sir Ben, anywhere in the world. I mean, rehabilitation of areas that were once oil fields, that were
I have
once
still
mining.
to-
Iba, murag, we don't
Canada
see.
is
There's no
not-
success story for rehabilitation.
because if you will return or you will rehabilitate the area that you have mined or you have explored back, you will not profit. Kaya ang tanang makita rin mo, igo-igo ra po ito pag rehabilitate ni mo, ipabalik ni mo vegetation. Hurot ra po imong kita. So, imong tanawon, at the expense of the environment, do you want the money, the income, the revenues generated from this? So, ang musafir gid ani ang natural habitat, ang flora, fauna.
Ang kita, after our
Yeah,
service
yeah.
contractor, foreign partners, up and leave.
Kaya kung imuha gyud na siyang istriktohon, no. Especially kining open pit mining. Once you take out the humus of the earth, mawala na to siyang portion nga
Sustain of life.
Oh,
Oh,
kay pagtangtang nimo tong fertile
oh. Sabi na,
portion sa crust,
Yes.
sa earth's crust, dili naman to makasupply, wa man to nutrients ang sunod.
wala.
So it will take many years pa na mo form na pud og humus.
So, kani, this Alegria oil and natural gas fields, we should not take it with all the, enthusiasm and
Yeah, I understand
optimism
the
or
jubilation of the local government unit there because They are already thinking about their share of the era and other.
But how much really is the share, di ba?
That's why
Ang sharing sa contractor o sa government, pila raman po.
ako po nang i-disclose sa viewers na kining mga joint ventures with our government under these service contracts entered into by the Department of Energy. Disadvantageous siya tanan sa government. Kaya ako magiling gi-estudyuhan atong case sa Resident Marine Mamas. In fact, most of the service contracts have this constitutional failure sa portion sa pag-sign. The reason why Service Contract 45 was declared unconstitutional because it was only the secretary at that time, the late Secretary Reyes,
Reyes.
who signed. And the Constitution requires the President
To sign.
himself or herself to sign the contract and the notification to Congress. Kay kini man gud siyang klase sa contract, FTA type ni siya. Ito pa siyang financial technical assistance agreement.
Sa
FTA
Constitution,
type.
the President
Now,
is
arang-arang na lang sino ni compared sa Mining Act because ang nag-govern nga law sa oil exploration and oil extraction is different. And the lead agency is the DOE. So it is under the basic law there is Presidential Decree 87. Whereas ang sa mining industry, ang govern nga law is the general law is the Philippine Mining Act of 1995, 1792. Tanaw ni mo ang Mining Act, halos walay share ang government. Royalties lang. Arang-arang na lang diri kay napay kita ang government. In fact, tanaw ni mo ang Malampaya, dako og share ang government. Unlike these mga mining companies, and the destruction of mining is far more worse than
Oil drilling.
natural gas
And oil
extraction. Kaya they have to flatten mountains,
Take away the crop.
kuhaon nila ang vegetation just to extract the minerals underneath. Inana ka-destructive ang mining, unyawa pag yun siya na-contribute. In fact, sakto itong ingon ni President Duterte nga, ang ilang na-contribute sa economy annually is only about 9 billion. Imagine,
Kagamay.
destroying
Yes.
all the mountains, mora na na-contribute nimo sa GNP.
Napagyud sila yung mga tax ko, ano?
Yeah, incentives.
Incentives nga, tax-free for the first 5 years. Or first, my goodness.
And they cannot even approximate the income of Malampaya. Tanawa lang pila na involved ni Napoles atong sa Malampaya.
Billions.
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 Billions. So, because klaro ang sharing dito. In fact, in that Malampaya project, sigurado daan ng 10% sa government, sa production. That you cannot find that in any mining tenement. So, mao lang po na siya din ha. Now, dako siya makita siguro ang LGU because standard man ng service contracts tanan. I have already seen service contracts and they have similar features. So they are different from because kini mga klase sa mga
But
instruments.
long way away from achieving our 70% commitment.
Yeah. If this is the paradigm that we are still pursuing, then we have not changed our business as usual attitude. So how we cannot reach that 70% reduction of our greenhouse gas emissions.
Any other alternative? Solar is also very cost intensive.
No, not
Yeah,
anymore.
Not anymore. Really
In
na.
fact, there are issues on solar power, especially how would you supply during nighttime. So it would require huge batteries. And there are other areas where, but solar panels now are very, very cheap. In fact, they are cheaper than coal. Coal appears to be cheap before, precisely because of the subsidy.
So affordable na ang solar.
Because with the government already has taken out the subsidy in coal under the train law. If you have
Okay.
noticed.
Sige. Now it's time to pause again for a few messages from our friends. We'll be back. And we're back. We have thoroughly discussed already the issues and concerns on the Alegria oil and natural gas fields. Now let's go to another current issue affecting our portion of Mother Earth, the Boracay Closure. Your thoughts, Sir Ben?
I have been
Can
to
we really
Boracay.
close an island? Can we really?
I have been to Boracay together with my flex way back in 2012 or 2013. I did not take a dip on its waters because at the time I was there to validate the reports from our group, our network, that coliform and other fecal
Are
was
in this-
already present. Very, very high
In the shores.
in the water, surrounding the waters. Precisely because of the lack of wastewater treatment facility. When I went to Boracay, I went to the other side of Boracay also.
The one that's being used as
That is
garbage
that
dump.
that's shown.
Mm-mm.
And Boracay, way back in 10 years ago, a decade ago, already surpassed its carrying capacity. The island is not that big. It cannot accommodate that much tourists. That carrying capacity that they have set, 40,000 a month visitors, is already very, very high for an island like Boracay. So, and that even does not even include the residents there and the transients. Kung tanaw ni mo Boracay ron, daghan na kayong mga transients nga namaligya dito, halos makakita na kayo mga maranaos dito selling their wares. Everybody is flocking there because of the
Napuno.
tourism boom. So,
How polluted kaya compared to Mactan? Puno man sa Mactan, which is
yeah, ang
beaches.
kanang Mactan, ang duha man na, ang kining Mactan Channel, ang Dahilutungan Channel.
Mm.
Ang na-test sa 2010 was the Mactan Channel. Very high coliform. Now, kining basura dapit sa Hilutungan, basura na nga gikan sa Cebu City. And you add also sa basura sa Lapu-Lapu City and the other islands, that is what you get, a
In-
kind of water there. Now, ang Boracay is, if you will not close it, it will worsen and worsen until such time that it is not anymore viable.
When we say close, you mean no travelers whatsoever? Only just the residents?
The residents, yeah.
How will they... Saan na siya pagkuan nga? What if mo anha diya through private boats?
And
Buta
that's
Mudak ug asa-asa?
if you close the establishments,
Wala na mo.
wala na mo ito.
Basig
So
magbuno
the
ang
recommendation of the task force is 6 months closure to allow the island to breathe, to rehabilitate. And it is not a permanent closure anyway.
But aren't they going to put a casino there?
Yes.
Balita sa on
that's-
social
that's-
media, casino one there. But di man ko ano, people go there to swim,
to
not
swim,
to gamble.
not to gamble. So that's one area where everybody's eyebrows were raised. No?
Mm.
At the time when you are campaigning, batting for the closure, there is this issue on the Macau Casino,
Mm.
establishing there, building there.
Is the deal already inked
Yeah,
by kinsa man Pagcor?
yeah, Pagcor.
Fine.
There are a lot of areas where they can put the casino. They can put it
Put it in
in the
urban
mainland.
centers. Ay,
I don't know what's the wisdom behind.
let
Now, I like the idea now of clearing the easement zones.
the yes. Clear it of
Although
the mga
Boracay,
structures.
yani man kung ningas kugol, sa una, makawalk ka freely sa 20 meters. Actually, 40 meters ang Boracay because it is a wilderness area. Under Section 51 of the Water Code, this is how we allocate our salvage or easement zones. In the urban centers, it is 3 meters. That's why sa Mahiga or Butuano River, you have to have that strip of 3
3
meters.
meters.
In rural areas, it should be free. The 20-meter zone should be free.
Salvage
From
zones.
any structure. So the reference point there is the highest tide.
Highest high tide.
Highest tide siya. So, inland, mo measure kag 20 meters.
Yan na ba uban nga ang ilang establishments right nagyud at the
No,
edge kay
naroon
para
din notices of violations were already served in Mactan.
Daghan man din ha.
Ang successful nga demolition na himo namo, the case I filed together with Atty. Posa in 2007 for the clearing of the easement zone in Bantayan Island. So 13 resorts there, structures were cleared. It took DNR 4 months to demolish the structures.
Mactan daghan ba ya kaayo Attorney Ben? Big resorts, di ba? Daghan man sa dinha nga naghimo-himo ng mga ganit nga slaga.
Balik na po
Island
mi karon. I filed a motion again for the investigation.
If theoretically pwede sa nagi-close ang Mactan kay ang Boracay gi-close man gani.
Yes. Ang Panglao also, about 30 establishments have violated. So, inani mo kuning tao, primero magbutang-butang sila o puro magkaning
Floating.
kini bang sa mga squatters, mag-start sila o kanang mga tabil-tabil sa pagkatanaw nila, wala nagbadlong nila, mag-start na sila, sugod na sila og plywood. Mura ba nag-evolution po siya? Pareha po na siya sa mga resorts. Nang pinaka-bastos kining there sa Mactan. Even the deep portion of the seas there are being obstructed. Nagbutang sila og piers or nagbutang sila og mga kung dili nakakaagi. The idea of the easement zone is for the public to walk unhampered, unimpeded along the beach line.
Kay public beach ba gyud na diha. All beaches are supposed to be.
Hindi makakakuan, magsugod ka dito sa asa Hilton.
Unya ang
Abaka?
problema kay ang mga titulo pud kay
Apil ang dagat.
April ang dagat.
That's the question.
Muna na.
So I
Anyways.
don't know if but at least nakita na to nga there is really this serious effort on the part of the DNR now. And although almost all my cases, the respondents is the DNR, karong nga mga gipakita sa DNR, makaingon ko nga murag ning lighten ang load sa mga environmental advocates.
So, at least doing a better job now ang
On the
compared sa-
environmental front. Mabitang I have to separate my concern on this human rights thing, this EJ case, from the environmental issues. If I will not do that, I will not be effective in my advocacy. Kaya kung nagsige na lang kong panaway din ha, generally, then I'm not being true to myself. No? So, akong gi-assess siya, based on my experience, I'm already 14 years na ko ani nga field. And in the Philippines, I am the only environmental litigator who has more than 10, in fact 14 active cases environmental. From the most difficult to the
To the easy.
sa tanan diri nga environmental lawyer sa Pilipinas, walay gahandle og 14 active. Gikan ka sa writ of kalikasan, the extreme remedy hangtod sa SLAP. So, na-cover na nako ang tanang environmental laws as causes of action. So, nakita na ako, ma-feel na ako kung doon na ba siya improvement sa campaign.
Less resistance now.
Yeah, kay sa una god ang ako ag yung pirming ako ag yung sentiment is that nga naman in all of the cases I filed, ang government to amang yun sa other side.
Yes.
Wala ko'y case nga naa sila sa ako ang side, naa sila sa side sa environment. Nga to aman sila mulaban sa mining company, sa writ of kalikasan for instance that I filed. Why did the Solicitor General argue for the mining companies, not for the environment? So, ikaw ba, malibog ka, kung ordinaryo lang ang imuhang courage, mahugno na
demoralize.
Ma-demoralize na. Sa diri naman sa oil exploration, the Solicitor General was arguing for the contractor. So, akong giotro ang paradigm, after I filed cases against them, sa initial na mga skirmishes, isukay sila, later on, pakakita nila adamant yun ang akong stand, I negotiate with them. I will drop you as respondent. I will convert you as amicus curiae of the court. So, noon ay norm na mo karon. So, I did that in the case of the clean-up of Bourbon, so-called Bourbon coastline. I dropped the DNR as defendant or respondent. And now, they are helping the environmental court exact compliance orders for environmental protection.
Kasi sila magwi dapat unta in the first place muy complainant yun.
Dapat. So, mauna siyang
hopefully. Okay. Now, we still have some time. Let's move on to another topic na burning up the social media these days on public and private international law. Quick distinction lang, Attorney Ben. What is private international law? What is public international law?
Actually, when you say international law, it's always the
Public.
states. But to distinguish the subjects, we put a qualification there. That if it is a public international law, you're dealing with the treaties and other relationship between states. For private international law, you're dealing with the relationship of persons, natural persons.
With different laws.
With the different laws of other nations. So we will be dealing with private international law.
Yes. So, anyway, touching on private international law, we have heard recently, in fact, nag-press release ang Congress nga House Bill 7185 has already been passed. This is, this is the act recognizing foreign decree of termination of marriage and allowing subsequent registration with the Philippine Registry, amending the Civil Code. Presently, for the knowledge lang sa ato ang televiewers, if a Filipino woman is married to a foreigner and then the foreigner leaves her has a divorce outside the country, the Filipina wife who is left here has no other recourse except to file a case in court for the court to recognize um, the divorce abroad of the husband, so that she will be no longer a wife without a husband, and that she will be free to remarry. Now, with the new, di ba sagka ni no, if this House Bill 7185 is passed into law, di ba sagka ni mo kuan nga
The resistance.
it practically
It
it
will open
practically
a-
opens the floodgates for
Abuse.
Filipinas, regardless of their nationality, obtaining divorces abroad, and instead of having to file correction or cancellation of entry of marriage here, and then having the foreign divorce declared recognized, they will just get that decree of divorce there and file it with the
That
civil
is the second
registry.
scenario allowed under that bill.
Yes.
You are
Yeah, and
your
then-
former Filipino citizens.
Yes.
Since you cannot get divorced here, you will go to Las Vegas. That is the usual
Yes.
point of destination. Then you file a divorce there. Now, under our present regime, that is not recognized in the Philippines. But under this bill, it will be recognized.
It will be recognized, and even if it's the Filipino
So long
or
as
the other,
the other spouse is able to convert into a foreign.
yes. So it might even be you, because di ba permanent residence in some,
Yeah.
even if you don't lose your Filipina or Filipino citizenship, permanent residents in some countries can already apply for divorce. And ako alang ani is, di ba, status of persons are determined by national law. So kani nakuan na ni, na overturned na ni nga doctrine in private international law as with respect to the Philippines. It
Yeah,
would be.
you in effect we have changed that.
Change na.
We have amended that particular principle in our public international law. But it is just equitable on the part of the Filipino spouse, because inani magod ang permanente magod nga at the
Vacancy.
losing side of
Ah,
the spectrum, it's always the Filipina
Filipina or the Filipino
Oo,
katong
ma'am.
nabilin.
spouse. Mao lang gini siya. So in order to correct that iniquity, we have this bill. As to whether it will be abused or not, the spirit of the law is there.
Yes.
Now, we know lawyers can always go around this. In fact, I have a client before. What we did is, because it's very, very difficult to look for the divorce decree, we just filed an absentee
Ah,
declaration.
presumptive death.
Presumptive death, 4 years.
4 years.
Our client was abandoned for more than 4 years without any trace.
On kuan na lang, because that's the
Purposes.
equitable.
To circumvent the law. Because if you go for nullity of marriage, it's very, very
Very difficult.
tedious.
Very tedious, very costly.
Costly.
Nga halos wa na kung imog yung istrikto ang balaod.
Now, as to the resistance of the church here, I don't think they will have this high resistance against this one, because ang senaryo, ang premise manggod ani, ang usa ka spouse, ang foreigner, nagkuha na manggod siya
Nagkuha na og
divorce.
divorce. Nabili na ang usa.
Nabili ang wife.
Anyway,
That's the beauty of that.
that is all the time we have now. Final words, Attorney Ben? Message for our viewers?
Let us be responsible citizens of this planet. Let us be always conscious of what we will do and how it will impact on our surroundings, on our environment. Because in the end, it will be us that will suffer. We have already seen how extreme is our weather now. And to allow a very, very small portion of our society to make money out from our miseries is the gravest for me. It is the highest kind of crime that you commit to humanity. I will continue and we will continue advocating and fighting for what is good for the future of our children and the next generation. Thank you.
Yes, that's a very profound message for Holy Week, no? And if I might just also add, I breathe air, I drink water, I eat food. None of these mining, oil exploration, and natural gas exploration can give that for me. I cannot eat natural gas. I cannot eat oil. I cannot eat the minerals. So it's practical, agad sad siguro, that we give priority to what we need in order to survive and to exist. And we should be responsible stewards of Mother Earth. She's been here for billions of years, and just for the past 200 years, man is about to destroy her and everything we know as it is. So, kana lang, nindot nyo palandungon for Holy Week. Have a blessed Holy Week, everyone.